Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Chester Elton. How are you, Chester?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of your show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, I look forward to meeting new people and learning what they're doing and how they're serving others. So it's great to meet you as well.
Thank you.
So, Chester, if you don't mind, can you share what you do with everyone?
Sure. For the last 22 years, my business partner and I, Adrian Kostek, we study workplace culture, leadership, teams, and so on. We've published 14 books together. We've sold 1.5 million copies. We've had 5 New York Times bestsellers, 7 Wall Street Journal bestsellers, and our books are in 30 languages. So from that writing and research, we speak at conferences all over the world. In fact, we were doing a total the other day. I think we've spoken in 47 different countries over the years. We have a burgeoning executive coaching practice that we enjoy very much. And we do workshops and training as well. So it's been great fun. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, super entrepreneurs, I might say, and are looking for some good mind food, we have a wonderful newsletter on LinkedIn called The Gratitude Journal. We publish it twice a month. We just passed over 250,000 subscribers. So good stuff there on how to lead with gratitude and how to deal with anxiety in the workplace, which are our last 2 books, Leading with Gratitude and Anxiety at Work, that we published with Harper Business. I live in Summit, New Jersey. I'm a diehard New Jersey Devils fan, proud father of 4 amazing children and 3 wonderful grandchildren. So I think that covers it. Anything else you want to know, Shahid?
No, that's great. That's a good starter right there. I have to be honest. That's you're breaking a record on this show. I don't think we had that many bestseller from one couple people at once, right? So,
yeah, we've worked very hard, and it's been very rewarding.
You always enjoy writing, or is that something you're passionate about, or is it how do you go about starting into publishing books?
Well, to be fair, Adrian is the writer. So we collaborate. We have the ideas. We work together. We do the research. We do the interviews. It's always interesting to me, Shahid, that when you see a book and there's like 5 co-authors, right? There's one writer. There's one person that does the writing because you can't have 5 voices in your head. So we enjoy the process, right? Exactly. And we enjoy the process very much. It's been a great experience. And of course, as you publish each book, you learn a little more. We've had several different publishers. We started with a very small publisher in Utah, and then we went to bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're delighted to be with Harper Business. They're a wonderful publisher and imprint.
No, that's great, Chester. One of my favorite topics is gratitude, and I'm glad that you have that newsletter on LinkedIn. Definitely will include that in the show notes. If you don't mind emailing us the link as well. I don't know if you did already, and we'll make sure to include it in the show notes.
Yeah, and if you just follow me on LinkedIn, you'll get all the good stuff as well. But we'll be sure to send you the link.
Yeah, just wanted for sure. I'll follow you for sure, and I just want to add it to make it easier for the listeners to connect.
You got it.
So, were you always a grateful person?
Great question. Actually, I grew up in a very happy household. My mother and father were wonderful examples of kindness and service and gratitude, and so I really grew up in an atmosphere where we were a very spiritual family as well. Our family was very much about faith and service, and so I don't know that anybody is always grateful. I think I probably had a bigger dose than many. We all go through those phases where we're kind of a little too self-centered and a little egotistical. Overall, though, I'd say, yeah, I've been in families and associations and congregations that have been very grateful and very supportive.
So, what are your pointers on living a life with gratitude?
Well, it's interesting. Adrian and I obviously are business writers. We have a database of over 1 million engagement surveys that we draw inferences from. We've done obviously numerous interviews and case studies for our books. And, it's interesting that while if you look at the data and you look at the tactics and the strategies that we publish around leading with gratitude, it will make you a better leader, and it will make your company and your effort more productive. What we really like about it is the ripple effect that it ripples into people's personal lives and their communities, into their families. So we break it down quite simply as, are you seeing what's going on? So are you attuned to the positive things in the workplace? And then how do you express that? It's not just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a saying that, general praise has no impact on people. You need to be very specific. What is it that I did so that I can replicate that behavior? And so we have 4 strategies on how to make sure you're seeing what's going on, and then 4 strategies on how to express that. And one of my favorites, in fact, we're doing a webinar tomorrow on, is assume positive intent. I think leaders that assume positive intent are leaders that are much more approachable. They're much more grateful. They're more about solving problems than they are about assigning blame. And I love that just mantra for life. API. A dear friend of mine, Scott O'Neill, taught me that principle years ago. And he actually has it as you go out the back door of his house, which is the entrance to the kitchen and where you take your kids to school. I mean, it's the thoroughfare. He literally put a cement block with API etched in stone above the door to remind his family and himself and everyone that leaves to, people are going to make mistakes. Very few people get up in the morning and decide they want to mess up at work or that they want to make a mistake. They're working hard and they're going to make mistakes. And you know what? I'd rather you work hard and make a mistake and fix that than have you hold back and for the fear of making a mistake and do nothing, right? So I love that principle of leading with gratitude, is assume positive intent about people. That Hubert Joly, who's become a good friend of ours, he was the guy that saved Best Buy. He's now a professor at Harvard. And he said, look, I may be the most naive leader on the planet. I just assume people come to work wanting to do a good job. Let's start with that. And then as the day moves on and things happen, let's solve the problems and get to that good place. Is that helpful?
Yeah, of course. I was throughout my journey, I don't believe I was a grateful entrepreneur, meaning I was so confined and so busy with day-to-day tasks that my mind never even went towards that. Like, I was grateful, right? My parents and all that kind of stuff. I knew it, but not that deep down feeling of gratefulness. I call it like habitual gratefulness, right? Like when you're just like you said, leading from it. And I noticed that, relationships, like you mentioned, working with other people, the decisions, your daily steps that you take, and seeing the good in others, right? All that amplifies when you're feeling habitually grateful.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, I'm a big fan of rituals and discipline. How do you start your day? How do you end your day? What are some of the things you're doing during the day to keep you in that state of gratitude? The book we wrote right after Leading with Gratitude is called Anxiety at Work. Mental health is a huge issue in the workplace. The pandemic really amplified all of those issues. And our 8th strategy there is to use gratitude. You can't be in a state of anxiety and a state of gratitude at the same time. So what are the rituals? What are the things you do? I love starting the day with a gratitude mantra, and it's very simple. Before my feet touch the ground, I say, hey, be kind, be grateful, and be of service. And I think if you can be kind and grateful and of service, you're going to have a good day. You'll spend more time thinking about others than you will about thinking about yourself. And that's generally a good place to be. And then, I have a fun ritual. I carry these little gratitude stones with me in my pocket. And as I see people that are, doing a good job or trying real hard, I stop them and say, hey, just a little token of gratitude. And I hope it brings you good luck. And it's a stone because when you throw a stone in a pond, the water ripples. And that's the ripple effect of gratitude that I enjoy seeing and being a part of very much. And then how do you end your day? My wife and I have a wonderful tradition. We say, what are your three? Tell me three things you're grateful for. And it's a lovely way to just kind of recap your day and think back. And, some days are long. I remember last night we were talking about it and I said, well, it's kind of a long day. It was near midnight before, we have the grandkids over and putting them down and all that stuff that goes with that. And I was thinking about my day and I thought, I had a breakfast with a new friend this morning. It just seemed like it was a week ago, and it's nice to just reflect and say, yeah, I did. I had a nice breakfast. I made a new friend. We did a little coaching. I hope it made a difference, and you kind of go through your day. And so I'm a big fan of those as well as the last one. And I know I'm the gratitude guy, so you might think I have, several. And that is a gratitude journal. We've got a little WhatsApp chain with some friends, and we just pop in and you put down 5 or 7 things you're grateful for. And then you read the other people's gratitude challenges or what they're grateful for. And it just buoys you up. So yeah, it's a discipline like anything else. You have to decide you want to do it, and then you figure out ways to make it part of your daily routine.
Make sure you do it, right? You just, uncompromising commitment. But the beautiful part is that you also, I'm not sure if you agree, but you become highly productive, right?
Well, you hold yourself accountable, right? And it's always wonderful to have a partner in crime. Someone, for example, my wife, at the end of the day, what are your three? I mean, we look forward to that, right? And if one of us forgets, the other one won't. With our gratitude chain on WhatsApp, it's, because it pops up, right? Hey, so-and-so put their list of, and it reminds you that, I need to do my list for today. So, that's that ripple effect of gratitude that I find so engaging and it's just so lovely.
Yeah, it is. It is, Chester. Where did you get the rocks from? Can you share?
Yeah, I always joke. I said, well, they're river stones. So if you collect up a bunch of river stones and you get a polisher and then you get a little stencil, you can engrave gratitude on. Then you overlay it with like a gold leaf or whatever you want to put in there. Is one way to do it. The other way is if you go on Amazon in 3 clicks, they'll send you a box of 100 of them. So that's the easier way to do it. So wow. Just type in on Amazon, gratitude stones, and it'll pop up, and you can buy a dozen, or I buy them by the hundreds. So I buy a big box of 100 stones, and it lasts me a couple of months. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they're not expensive. They're a couple of dollars each, but. No, it's and it's just and I'll tell you what's really fun, Shahid, is the reaction people have when you gift them that stone. And a friend of mine, he said, I love that stone. He used it as a worry stone. He'd pull it and he'd rub it and it would calm him down a little bit. And he said to me, I lost it. He says, how do I get another one? I gave him the link. He says, I've ordered 100. I'll never be without a gratitude stone. So just fun. I have fun with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I believe there's a story behind that too, right? A stone and gratitude. Have you heard something like that? Or
I'm sure there is. My gratitude story is give them away. There is a wonderful old First Nations fable about the walking with a stone in your shoe, and the young brave is cursing the stone for causing him so much discomfort. And the tribal elder says, why are you cursing the stone? The stone is just being a stone. That it's in your shoe is you can always remove the stone. Don't curse the stone. The stone is just being a stone.
It's just being a stone. That's awesome.
Yeah. Don't get mad at somebody for being who they are. That's who they are.
Yeah, it's like, when someone does something and when you tend to look for the wrong, it's just being human, right? So it comes to the same thing.
Yeah. Be
people
kind.
make mistakes.
Be grateful.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on, any tips on looking for the good in situations? That really helps with being grateful because, sometimes you come across people that might rub you the wrong way. Do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, I know. We have a great story about a leader that we adore down in Dallas, Texas. He runs the Avis Budget rental car business down there, and he looks for small wins. It was another one of our "Are you seeing what's going on?" And initially in his career, he was the kind of manager that was quick to point out what was going wrong. They called him a seagull manager, fly in, crap all over everything and fly away, not a great brand. So to remind himself to look for the small wins, he would put 10 coins in his left pocket. And he would set a goal to have 10 positive interactions. Hey, I really like the way you interact with that customer. Boy, whenever I come to your location, the cars are always spotless. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And the way he keeps track is he moves a coin from his left pocket to his right pocket. And again, very intentional, very disciplined. And so that when things do go wrong and he's got to pull somebody aside and coach him up and say, by the way, we don't yell at our customers, whatever the issue might be. People are open to his coaching because he's built up this reservoir of goodwill. And so, that is, I think, a wonderful practice to see what's going on and appreciate all the little things that are going right that build momentum to a good day and a profitable day and happy and satisfied and loyal customers. So that's a wonderful story, I think, about, be intentional, look for stuff. And that ritual of having 10 coins in your pocket. He has pennies because he's an American. Europe and Canada, they have to be nickels. There are no more pennies, right?
No. Yeah, no, that's great. That is a good story. For anxiety, right, at the workplace, would you be able to share your top strategy or one of the strategies that you're able to share with everyone
Sure.
that they can do at
would
workplace to help with anxiety?
Yeah. In fact, we have a podcast called Anxiety at Work. You can, search it anywhere, you find your podcast. We're closing in on 100 episodes, so we're very proud of that. The number one cause of anxiety in the workplace is uncertainty, which, through the pandemic was heightened to stratospheric levels. And so the strategy there is over communicate. Even if you don't know, communicate. When there's a void in communication from leaders, supervisors or within the team, voids get filled, right? That's nature, right? And when there's no communication, it gets filled with rumor, innuendo, and fear. Well, the way that you mitigate that is you say, okay, here's where we're going. Here's how we're going to get there. Here's what I know. And what I don't know, and I'll tell you when I can tell you. Employees are looking for answers to basically 4 basic questions. Is how is the company doing, right? Is it safe here, right? Where are we going? So what's the strategy moving forward? How am I doing? Like, what's my performance? Am I performing well? And do I have a future here? So if you answer those 4 questions on a regular basis for your team, uncertainty goes way down. I can breathe. Hey, the company's doing great. We're, opening a new, store in Kelowna. My performance is appreciated and there's an opportunity for me to move up in the organization and do interesting things. Well, if I know the answer to those 4 questions, my anxiety is going to go way down. So, we start with, it's the number one cause of anxiety. So how do you address that? Over communicate. Town hall meetings, one-on-ones, newsletters, whatever you do in your organization to communicate, and make sure you're doing it on a regular basis.
So that's on the corporate side. What about the actual staff, right? Like the employee side of anxiety? Any recommendations there, like individual base?
Oh, absolutely. Make sure that you've got an ally at work. Where a lot of research shows that when you've got particularly younger employees or new employees, you pair them up with a more seasoned employee, somebody that's just been there longer, so that they've got a guide in the workplace, people they can ask questions to. Make sure that, here's how we get things done. I don't know how you did it at your previous company, but here are the gatekeepers, here are the rituals and so on. So having an ally at work is very, very helpful and highly recommended. It's interesting. We came across a wonderful study about firefighters they did a study and they wanted to look at different firehouses and why are some more responsive and save more lives and so on. And so they looked for what are the attributes of a great firehouse. And one of the key things is that they ate together. So when they came into a firehouse, if they had breakfast together, if they had lunch together, if they ate together, that was a good sign that there was cohesion, that they liked each other. If they showed up at a firehouse and everybody went to their corners to eat their food, it was a sign that things aren't going well. So again, create some social networks at work, whether it's, you're bringing in donuts and coffee or you're having a team lunch on a regular basis, or you go for a walk. And in many cases, to not talk about work. How's the family doing? I understand your mom had a fall or whatever. Your son was on the provincial championship pee-wee hockey team. Get to know people. And that is another strategy to reduce anxiety is, do you know each other's stories? How did you get here? What do you want to accomplish while you're here? Where do you want to be in 2 or 3 years from now? As you well know, the workplace is so diverse now. You've got different languages, you've got different traditions, you've got different food, and so on. So if once you know someone's story, I think that really helps to reduce anxiety. And we've all felt like the other. If you've been in junior high school at a dance, you get like, is anybody going to ask me to dance? Or if I ask somebody to dance, will they reject me? And often in the workplace, you might be the only Muslim on the team. And where do I pray 5 times a day? You may be the only woman on the team. You may be the only, employee of color, the only one on the team where English is your second language, or the only one on the team that doesn't speak French, whatever the case may be. So, understanding the stories and being very sensitive to that, teaming them up with allies and creating that cohesion are all good strategies to reduce anxiety, because I feel like I belong. You know my story, you know who I am. I've got a friend at work. I've got a guide. I look forward to coming to work.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. That's a really good point. Having that ally makes a huge difference. I just think back to when I was in the corporate world for the first few weeks. I was just, so am I doing this right? Am I going to the right place? So having that guide, or having that, person that guides you through that journey, especially in the beginning, could make a world of difference, especially for anxiety, right?
Yeah. Who's your Obi-Wan Kenobi? Who's your Yoda that you can go to?
Yeah. Who's your Yoda?
And simple things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
very
we
helpful.
like to ask our guest here. Sorry?
Sure. Well, I was going to say, and then, the last strategy is always gratitude.
Yes.
It's interesting. We've been studying, what we call an all-in culture. It starts with culture. Do I believe what I do matters, and do I make a difference? And when I make a difference, is it celebrated, right? So you start with culture. What's fascinating is the common thread through all of those high-performance cultures, teams, leaders, and so on, is gratitude, which we found fascinating.
Yeah.
When I feel valued at work, things go well. And when I have a leader that leads with that they care about me, that I'm valued, things go better. So that's our biggest discovery over 20 years is you can do a lot of things well. Don't forget the gratitude, right?
Don't forget the gratitude. What are your thoughts about, I was going to say preaching, or, having open discussion about, in a corporate environment, about self-awareness, helping individuals become more self-aware? Could that help with anxiety?
I think that's always a good thing. And reflection is a great way to model that. As a leader, your project is finished. What's the debrief? And it's kind of interesting when you model that as a team and say, okay, let's do a debrief. Let's reflect. What did we do well? What could we have done better? What can we avoid next time? And when, you said preach. Preach and teach to me are synonymous, right? So if you're teaching that, and then encourage it with your employees when you have your check-ins, say, hey, let's just do a quick reflection on the last month. What were some of the things that you really enjoyed doing, and why? What were some of the things that didn't bring you satisfaction in the workplace, and why, and how can we build on that going forward. So I think that creates a lot of self-awareness. And as a leader, you're a teacher, you're a coach, and that's your job, is to coach them up and say, one of the reasons this project didn't go as well as it could have is you took on too much. You didn't delegate. Your team didn't feel like they were included, and it was all on you, and it was too much, and that's why you missed the deadline. So let's work on your delegation. Let's work on including the team a little more, and how we can do that. So, yeah, no, I'm a big fan of self-awareness and delegation, and reflection, I think, is a great way to do that.
That's great, Chester. We like to ask our guest here what their innermost superpower is that got them to this point in their life.
What's my innermost superpower? Interesting question. I think my superpower is friendship. We developed a really fun little assessment called "What Motivates Me," and we through lots of vetting and lots of trials, we found that there were 23 key motivators in the workplace, and then they were divided up into identities, right? And friendship always rises almost. If it's not at the top, it's in my top three. And friendships and relationships are really important to me. I've been blessed with a wonderful family, and I have 4 older brothers that are my best friends. And so developing deep and meaningful relationships has been I agree with that one. That would be my superpower.
Yeah, that's an excellent one. Relationships weren't for me in the past. Actually, I wasn't really fond of meeting new people. It made me feel uncomfortable, but now it's I just love it. I love building relationship, and I like the way you said it, like friendship. Like that's the next level of relationship.
Yeah, and by the way, Shahid, it's not without peril. I've given my friendship to people that have not returned it in kind, and it's been very traumatic. The thing is, it's like the old saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. I'm 99 times out of 100, those friendships are going to be positive and affirming and supportive. There's always going to be 1 or 2 that leave a few scars, but that's what makes our lives interesting, right?
And the funny thing is, those people that we have that kind of interaction with, they may have a very solid relationship with someone else. It just doesn't mean that they're a bad person, it just means that it just didn't connect with you, whatever they did, but they're creating a really good relationship with someone else, for example, right? So just, when you have that bad egg, if you want to call it, you just move on, right? It doesn't phase you. You shouldn't let it phase you.
Sure. Well, this has been a lovely discussion. Thank you, Shahid, for inviting me on the show. Yeah, it was
great. Yeah, it was nice meeting you. You gave some really good information here to our audience. If you have any final words, that'll be great.
Yeah, obviously, I would love you to buy our books, Leading with Gratitude and Anxiety at Work, and that you can find them online, Indigo, Amazon, wherever fine books are sold. They're available in audiobooks as well. I've become a big fan of Audible on Amazon. Follow us on LinkedIn. Our gratitude journal is a wonderful free service, and we're really gratified that we have so many followers there. Just in conclusion, I would say, look, as you learn to lead with gratitude in business, don't forget to take it home. What was really gratifying, the last chapter in our book, Leading with Gratitude, and we weren't sure that our publisher was going to publish it, actually, is take it home. The practices of looking for small wins and making sure that people know that you're paying attention and that you celebrate. One of our leaders, Dave Kirpin, shared a wonderful family tradition at dinner. Everybody has to answer 3 questions. And the 3 questions are, what was the best part of your day? Who are you grateful for who's not at the table? A coach, a teacher, a friend. And who are you grateful for who's at the table who hasn't been thanked yet? And he said, at first it was, oh, Dad, you're always doing this kind of stuff. He said, the more we did it, it became a family tradition. And it's just a lovely way to have dinner together. It spurs meaningful conversations over and above what you used to have, which was, how was school? Fine. What did you learn? Nothing. Right?
Yeah.
We've all had those conversations.
One word answers.
Yeah. So, my parting, words would be, listen, if you lead with gratitude in the workplace, things get better. They just do. We've got all the data to prove it, and we've got the strategies that will help you implement that. It's not just a better way to lead, though. It's just a better way to live. Again, that ripple effect through your family. And my favorite data point is employees and people at work, whether you're a leader or a team member, whatever, that are happy and engaged at work are 150% more likely to be happy in their personal lives. So create an environment at work that's engaging and fun and productive and where you're winning, and let them take that spirit home and share it with their families, with their partners and spouses and children and neighbors. That to me is the best part of our work, is that ripple effect. So lead with gratitude, absolutely. Live with gratitude, even better.
Yeah, no, love it. Live with gratitude. Love it. Thank you so much, Chester. I appreciate you taking the time to come on this show. And, definitely keep in touch. And like I said, the show is all about spreading the awareness about what entrepreneurs are doing out there, and see if we can help others or serve them in any way. And I'm sure we did our job today with the information that you shared. Audience, thank you so much for attending once again. Please definitely remember to share. Check out Chester's books. We'll have the links in the show notes, and especially his gratitude LinkedIn newsletter, because really, once we work on that inner world, once we work on how we feel emotionally, it makes a tremendous difference on our productivity and the quality of productivity. And as in addition to like everything that Chester has shared, definitely something to check out his books and see what all this is about. And I'm sure that you're aware of all this, but the difference is by taking action. When you actually take action, take the steps, and you take in that information and you follow some strategies, you start seeing results. It's great to hear this information and not do anything about it. But I would highly recommend taking some action and checking this information out. It makes a world of difference. And again, Chester, thank you so much.